Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Stu Maker. I'm Stu, and I like to make things. And today, I'm wearing headphones. I'm wearing headphones as I listen to music. And the reason why I'm listening to music right now is because I watched the movie LongLegs, and I thought it was really sick. And I was like, okay, it's a pretty cool movie. Let's do some art about it. And I thought, why not, instead of just, doing the art like I normally do, just do it on my iPad and, then I just export a little video. Why not just record myself drawing in real time and talk about my process, and I can like review the movie as I go about it. I'm gonna pull up my references here. I'm not gonna do this like I've done before. Like I'm not gonna trace this. I'm gonna try to like just go eyeball it. I really love his outfit. So I'm gonna be drawing long legs. So I'm gonna be talking about the movie. But first let's try to figure out what the hell our composition's gonna look like. That's interesting. Like the beginning of the movie, it's kind of like this, which would be interesting, but I don't want to do that. I've been debating on even doing like horizontal versus vertical things, so we'll play with that. I think first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to go with this pose where he's doing that like face thing, the woo, 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 that I think that'd be kind of sick. Shut that a bit. So if you guys aren't interested in watching like a real time sketch or drawing, I'm probably gonna cut around a bit anyways. We'll work on the expression that he might give. Did he have any eyebrows? Honestly, don't even remember. Let me see. Did I left photo? Nope, that's not the photo. Yes and no. Yes and no to the eyebrows. A little bit. He seems to feel like this really wonky ass nose here. I mean, this is all prosthetics, so I don't feel really bad for saying anything too dramatically bad about this. Oh, hey, Future Stu here. I kind of started talking nonsense as I was trying to focus on the art and talking, and it just wasn't well thought out. So I thought, why not come back here, give you my thoughts in general. I really liked the movie quite a bit. I'd say for me, if I had to give it a score, I'd probably like 7.5 to 8 stars. I hadn't checked out any promotional material other than like one trailer, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. I'll check it out. But I know there's like a lot of ciphers and a lot more of like ARG level stuff that people got into. I think one of the big problems I think I've been seeing people talk about in the movie was that the marketing kind of led them astray as to what exactly the movie was supposed to be. Because I know, like, it definitely felt more like Silence of the Lambs 7 kind of vibes as far as like, the trailers go. But then, like, the actual movie's a little bit different than that, which is totally something I get and understand. Love the cinematography. Thought it was really cool. I mean, just all of the white shots and stuff like that. Just really had a great look to it. I thought the acting was pretty awesome too. I don't think there's a bad actor in the whole movie, and I know people were saying stuff about Karen Shipka's character. I liked it. It was weird, but I liked that it was weird. I thought Micah Monroe as the main character, Lee Harker, was awesome. She really had such an interesting, like, kind of like reserved vibe to her that I really felt a lot, and I really dug it. The mom was also pretty sick, and of course you got Nicolas Cage. I can go wrong with Nicolas Cage. Always give me more Nicolas Cage. Other than that, yeah, those were all like what I really liked and felt about the movie and really dug. Other than that, yeah, I thought the movie was pretty well done. I greatly enjoyed it. Had a fun time with it. And so I guess if you guys don't want spoilers here, you can just mute me and just watch the video with some music playing, whatever works for y'all. Movie, thought it was, like I said, really good, really great. I think was really interesting to me was the fact that like the twist was it's not Silence of the Lambs, it's more Seven, and even then it's not just Silence of the Lambs, it's a lot more of like a demonic take instead of being like this FBI agent that's trying to solve the murder, which I mean there is that element in the movie. It was more of like unfolding this plan that the devil and the LongLegs character kind of worked on, which I thought was really cool. Again, sorry for spoilers, but I just want to talk about this movie because I thought it was really sick. And, getting on my soapbox here. Story-wise, I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't hate it, especially when you go to like the 90s, which is the setting of the film. There's a lot of this like satanic panic going around it, so it's kind of like, okay, I totally understand where they're coming from in the movie, and I thought that was really cool. But it definitely was a bait and switch. So if you're expecting, like a more of like a routine kind of FBI investigation, then yeah, this movie does not gonna be your cup of tea. But for what it's worth, I like that. I kind of expected it. I don't know what people were expecting. I thought it was gonna be like a demonic film. I mean, you got a guy called LongLegs. I mean, there's definitely a lot of like satanic imagery in the trailer, so I don't know how people didn't catch that. That's entirely I don't know. People, I guess, just don't pay attention at all. Media literacy is dead, people. I'm just kidding. I definitely love that though. The direction was really great too. I thought the director had a good way of like getting you on the edge of your seat. It's not like a straight out horror movie. There's a lot of tense moments where you're just like looking at the frame, and like Macon Monroe is just taking off this small portion, and then you get this huge canvas of like look at this wall, and you're just like looking at this like dark wall, and you're like, wait, is there something there, dude? You're just staring at it. And I ended up going to see this movie alone. I don't have a lot of people that like horror movies, unfortunately, that live nearby me that wanted to go see it or were available, unfortunately. But greatly enjoyed it. You know, I think watching it alone was actually way more fun for me than if I had just, you know, went with other people, because it would have taken the fun out of it. I think, you know, being alone, watching it in a dark, crowded theater was kind of an interesting choice, especially because I kept hearing people kind of like move their feet behind me, and like at some points in the movies it felt like there was literally someone standing right behind me, and I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I was like, please don't murder me. But other than that, I had a great time. I think, you know, it enhanced it for me, you know, watching it alone. I'd say my biggest issue with the film was the lack of Nick Cage. He has a big presence in the movie, don't get me wrong, and like they really use him really well. You know, they pull a 7, you know, again, spoiler alert, where, you know, you don't really see the killer for most of the movie. You see them here and there, but then like the killer ends up turning themselves in, and then, you know, you get this huge hurrah. And I think the difference is that in 7, that happens at the end of the film, versus LongLegs, it happens like literally right in the middle of the movie. LongLegs has this like interrogation scene with Michael Monroe's character, Lee Harker, and then he just kills himself. It's like, hail Satan, you know, he just goes to town himself. And I was like, oh, okay. What the hell? Like, what? Okay, what are we doing for the rest of the movie? And then like I think, you know, another big issue I had with the movie is how predictable it was at times. I really got kind of annoyed, because I was like, oh, clearly they're setting this up for something in the future, and then, you know, they did, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, there's something wrong with setting something up in a movie, but my biggest issue is that if it's like coming a mile away. And I guess it didn't work for everybody, because like when I was in the theater, people were surprised at certain scenes, like, oh my god, you know, and I thought that was kind of funny. You know, in the beginning of the movie, Harker and this other FBI agent are going out like door to door trying to like find out where LongLegs is or whatever, right? And she has like this psychic ability that's like, oh, go here. And so she does, and you're like, okay, cool, you know, like, oh, she's psychic, cool, whatever. I feel like I just did not listen to her. And I heard and I read other reviews of people talking about like, you know, the movie's about self-destruction and not really following you know, your kind of survival instincts in a way, not doing what's best for you. And like I definitely see that in the movie, and I thought that was an interesting thing. So for me, when the guy was like, oh no, I'll knock on the door, don't worry about it, and it goes over there, I was like 100% sure the guy was gonna get shot in the head. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's dead. But then it happens in the theater, and everyone was so surprised. I was like, really? Maybe I just, you know, as a writer and as an artist and I was, you know, a filmmaker even, I kind of see some of these beats come in. And so for me, it was definitely was along the lines of like, okay, I kind of already knew that was going to happen, you know, not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just funny just to see what gets people off kilter versus like me. You know, I guess it's a lot harder for me to get shook up in that way. But no, the movie was definitely unsettling, and I definitely had a great time. I keep saying definitely a lot. I have a way of just doing that too much. That's kind of an issue for me. But yeah, this drawing was okay. I'm not like super in love with it, to be 100% honest. I did a couple other ones, and I'll have those here too, and I'll talk over that. But you know, I feel like I could have done better. But you know, gotta get a video done, you know. The wheels of production must continue flowing. The spice must flow. And so I guess, you know, I wanted more Nick Cage. I feel like LongLegs was such a fun character, especially that this like really glam rock kind of dude, and like his dialogue was so great, so Nick Cage, but like it was done so maliciously that I was like, ooh, I'm like eating this up, like give me more, you know. There's like I think in the first scene, I think he when he sees the little girl, not to spoil, I'm already spoiling it, so who cares? But like he's, you know, like LongLegs just shows up at this girl's house, and he's like, oh, there she is, the almost birthday girl. Just like, what the hell, dude? And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry,
I brought my long legs today. What if I go? And he bends lower and he's like huge, like super loud jump scare. It's like so funny. I was laughing my ass off the whole movie. And I know that's like not standard. That's like not what people do generally. But for me, I was having the best time. I was laughing. I don't have the same response to horror as other people do. Like other people get like freaked out and scared. Me, I just like, it's just so funny. Like the creepier something is, the more I laugh, because it's like, it's uncomfortable, but it's also for me, it's like, wow, they're doing such a good job. Like this is hilarious. And so that was my specific kind of reaction to a lot of the movie, which is laughing. Nick Cage, man, just give me more Nick Cage. I mean, he was doing this glam rock LongLegs, which I think was interesting. I think the director talked about it, that like it was a homage to like, a lot of glam rock days and like old rock that's like kind of decaying. And I thought that was like such a cool idea, and I wanted him to explore that more. And I guess they didn't want to go too much into LongLegs, and that's fine, I guess. But I wanted to learn more about it, man. I mean, it reminds me of like the Black Phone and the Creeper. I really thought the Creeper was so interesting and so like just evil, like straight up evil, that I wanted to learn more about what was going on there, and I ended up being happy with what we ended up getting. But at the same time, I'm like, I still do wish there was more. Give me more. I've heard people say that like this is like more of like a vampire, like a Dracula situation, where like LongLegs is Dracula, then it turns into this like Faustian thing, which I thought was a really cool and interesting take on that. And I'm not gonna like dispel anyone's thoughts and feelings about it and say like they're right or they're wrong. I think this movie is like really up for interpretation. What I will say though is that people saying there's nothing to this movie, that it was boring and it wasn't worth it, it's not horror. Clearly you guys are terrible at reading between the lines, because there's a lot in this movie. Like there's a scene where the main character, she's getting this like psych evaluation, and I clocked it pretty quickly because they're asking her like to do like this like a word association. So they show her an image and she says what comes to mind, right? Like a Rorschach test. And then like her mom, I forgot what it was specifically, but like, and then she says like there's an upside down triangle and she says her father. And what we learned throughout the movie is that LongLegs is Satanist, and he is trying to create this inverted pyramid as like a mockery to God, and the three Father, Son, Holy Spirit in a way. And he's using the murders to kind of create that shape through time, I guess. I don't know. It's strange, but I thought that was fascinating. And I think, having her say father to an inverted triangle lets me think, I'm like, okay, we don't know who her father is. We never learned throughout the movie who her father is. But when she thinks of dad, she thinks of, the upside down triangle, the evil, the devil, LongLegs potentially. And that kind of leads to some like rich texture, because you're like, wait, is LongLegs her dad? Like what? Or is the devil her dad? Like what is this? Is this like a sequel to Rosemary's Baby or something? I don't know. But I thought the idea behind it was like really cool. And I was like, okay, a lot of food for thought there. And there's like, there's scenes where like she calls her mom, and clearly she has like a tense relationship with her, and her mom keeps asking her like, are you saying your prayers? And like Micah Monroe's like, no mom, that freaks me out. And I'm like, why would saying prayer freak you out? And that got me thinking, I'm like, where the hell does her powers come from? And I'm like, once I started picking up on some of this stuff pretty early on, for me, I, like my writer brain is like, okay, maybe this is something to do with Satanism. Maybe she doesn't like doing saying her prayers. One, not just because she's not religious anymore, but because there's some like demonic influence, like maybe that's her powers, and they're like, it's leading her down this dark road. The twist that it was the mom who was helping him and why she was helping him, and then that fact that he lived under her house the entire time was kind of a wild idea. But they definitely set it up to the point of like hitting you on the head with it. I was like, okay, I understood that. And I think that's my issue. It's like the things I wanted to learn about, I didn't get any more information. But like the things that like I already like understood, I'm like, okay, yeah, the mom's working with LongLegs. Yeah, he probably lives in her basement. Like you're definitely setting that up for it. Like I'm there with you. And they're like, no, but he's under her basement. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. Like, okay, cool. And then you got the dolls part, which a lot of people didn't understand, which I thought was interesting. I think this movie takes a lot from other horror films more than it lets on. Definitely Silence of the Lambs, definitely Seven. I think that, but I think there's a little bit of Annabelle, or The Conjuring in there with the doll. I mean, he didn't have to do the doll. The doll didn't have to be there, but he added it, as a homage to those movies potentially. But I think, if we were to talk about it thematically, he probably had those dolls in the movie as a way of like, oh, parents, when you have kids, you want to have them as they are in this specific age forever, and in a way, that's what they're offering, right? Because in the film, the families are given these dolls, and then the dad goes crazy and kills everybody, and the moms go crazy and the kids go crazy, but like, the dad ends up killing everybody. And in a way, Longlegs and the devil, who give the family these dolls, are kind of encapsulating and trapping these people as they are in that moment in time forever, because now they're thought about, through stories now, right? Or photos from the crime scenes. They're kind of like forever locked into that. And I think, the director Oz Perkins was talking about, like, he was interested in the John Benet Ramsey murder. Is that her name? Sorry, I'm not like super good with names, but that the pageant girl who was killed, and in a way, it's like she's never going to grow up anymore, right? She's always going to be remembered as her age at that time in that place, and she's not going to be allowed to grow up because she died very tragically. And in a way, the characters in the movie also are. I just thought that was such an interesting kind of piecemeal thing, and I've been trying to like circulate in my thoughts and trying to get them to a place that makes a lot more sense about this movie, because there's a lot to it. And I feel like anyone that says like, oh, this movie's kind of like bare bones, isn't really digging deeper into the symbolism and the messages behind the movie. And I won't spoil the ending. I mean, I spoiled a lot of other stuff already, but I won't spoil the ending. But I thought the ending was kind of weak sauce, to be honest. I think they could have done better there. But I mean, things happen. You can't always get everything right 100%. No movie's ever perfect. A lot of things to mull over. Not necessarily the scariest movie I've ever seen, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was a fun time, and it left me with a lot of thoughts afterward. And for me, that's kind of like the biggest thing. Like I want to mull over a movie. I want to think about it. I want to ingest it. I want to kind of take my time and understand it. And I think this movie accomplished that, while it failed at some other points. But those I can forgive. I wasn't super upset at some of those parts. But otherwise, yeah, those are my thoughts. When I was drawing through the drawings, I just kept saying the movie was cool. I'm like, the movie's cool. I thought I was going somewhere. I thought I was cooking with my review or my thoughts on the movie, but I was literally just like stopping drawing, and I'm like, yeah, so LongLegs, great movie, cool movie even. I would just come at the drawing and say the same thing. So I had to come in. I will be honest, I wasn't super in love with the pieces I drew. I did like the second one a bit, which is kind of like a still from the movie, which is kind of just his portrait, like from the nose down, and it's kind of like this close-up thing. I thought that was really fun, and I got to add the writing of like, oh, there she is, the birthday girl. I thought that was cool. And then I went back and did like the red scale with the long legs in it, red, black, and white. I thought that was like a really fun one, and I think for now that'll have to be the one that I'm happy with. I might do more, but I probably won't make a video on it. Maybe it'll be like a little short or something. But yeah, those are my thoughts on LongLegs. What did you guys think? Did you guys like the movie? Have you guys seen the movie? Did I spoil it too much? I'm trying not to spoil it, but obviously it's kind of hard to talk about certain aspects of it that were interesting to me. But it's all good though. So yeah, there you go. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. This one took a little longer than I was gonna do, but it's fine. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes the ones you think would be really quick are the ones that take forever. But in either case, I have a book. Where is the book? I have a book. It's called XCal. I read it myself. I even drew all the pretty little pictures in here, and it's all about my card game and stuff. So if any of that interests you guys, definitely do check it out. Written by yours truly. Got a little blurb on the back. You want to read that? It's on Amazon, so literally look at XCal. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. You can check it out. I have a Discord. Trying to get people to hang out, talk. If you have any questions or anything, you want to see my thoughts about anything, feel free to message me there, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Other things to plug, nothing really much other than subscribe if you like the video, or like the video if you liked it. Either way, there's no do as you wish, either case. Appreciate you guys. This has been Stu Maker. I'm Stu, and I like to make things. Bye bye.